Yes, but I am a student at this campus exercising my free speech rights and engaging in conversations with my fellow students.
Okay, I understand that. But who you are representing today is the Heritage Foundation.
I'm not representing the Heritage Foundation. They simply made the constitutions, which is the highest law in the land, that I am passing out.
Okay, still, as a student on campus, passing out anything whatsoever, you have to have permission through the Student Development Office. Okay?
Isn't that a violation of my First Amendment rights, sir?
I don't believe it is. But if you're going to go ahead and you're going to fight me on that, that's up to you. I'm telling you where you can go. I'm giving you a solution.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That is just a short part of a video that involves Robert Van Tuinen, who is a student at Modesto Junior College in California, and he was on campus handing out copies of a little thing called, I know Barack Obama thinks it's a flawed document, but nonetheless, he was handing out a copy of something called the U.S. Constitution. And security moved in and prevented him from continuing the handing out of that great document. Joining us right now is Robert Van Tuinen. And Robert, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to talk to you. And first of all, tell the folks a little bit about yourself. What year are you in? What are you studying? And how did you come to get into the position where you are handing out these I guess pocket-sized versions of the Constitution?
Well, I'm in my second year here at Modesto Junior College, and I'm doing general ed right now. I'm going to transfer probably to San Jose State to take journalism classes. But as for the Constitution, it's the highest law in the land. I had been talking to my fellow members of Students for Liberty and Young Americans for Liberty to decide, what I could do as an individual on campus, since I had tried putting on an event and they weren't going to allow me to put on an event. So I decided, passing out constitutions would be fairly simple as just a student at a public college exercising free speech.
And did you speak to anybody, any advisor, any lawyer, any friend who's a lawyer about going about how to go about this, or whether or not you would be stopped? Did you anticipate that you would run into trouble?
Well, I had an inkling.
How'd you have an inkling? Yeah, go ahead.
I hoped that MJC would be better than that. I hoped that, I had spoken highly in the past of our school and how freely people can engage in conversations on campus. But that was before I started to actually read up on the codes and see all this. I didn't even get the document for the policies in my hand until after the event. I got them the day of, and I didn't get to read them until after. But I didn't expect them to shut me down just for offering students a copy of the Constitution. But this is a huge problem, and I'm aware of problems because I follow FIRE, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Education, and 1 in 6 colleges has a free speech zone and restricted policies on student speech. So I didn't talk to anyone beforehand, like getting advice, but this is something that I know I should be able to do.
We're talking to Robert Tuinen. He is a second-year student at Modesto Junior College in California. Now, when you took a video, who took the video? Obviously, it wasn't you. You had a friend along with you?
Yes, I had a fellow student, and I actually started all 3 separate videos because we moved around. I started all 3 videos myself and then passed off the camera.
And that was just in case there was any kind of trouble or confrontation?
Well, yeah. People have been asking me, well, you were prepared with a camera. You knew this was going to happen. I was like, no, it was on my phone. Anytime I interact in like 10 situations, I want to have some sort of documentation of what happened, so it's not my word against theirs.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. Now, interestingly enough, we saw in the video the security guard ask you to come with him and point out a place where you could freely hand them out, but it was a small isolated area. But interestingly enough, a spokesperson for your college subsequently has told Fox News that students and the general public, you would fit into the student category, are permitted to pass out materials in areas on campus that are generally available for the public, as long as there's no disruption of orderly operations of the college. And they said, based on the video, it does not appear that the student was disrupting the orderly operations of the college, and therefore they're looking into the incident. So by whoever the spokesperson was, according to their own definition, you didn't do anything wrong. You should have been allowed to stay there, right?
Well, see, this is what's interesting. The fire.org Fire has a piece on discussing this response, and they point discussing this response, and they point because they say that you have to ask for permission, because they say that you have to ask for permission. Do that doesn't fit with what they've already said. Well, with their statement, do that doesn't fit with what they've already said. Well, with their statement, administrator and the administrator and security guard are only following the policies that the school set forth.
All right, so you're saying that this PR person, whoever it was, and maybe that's why they're unnamed, as far as I could see, is kind of covering for the rules so that it doesn't become an issue, so that they don't stay there and say, well, we have rules, and you could look them up, because if you look them up, we'd find very restrictive freedom of speech circumstances on this university, as you mentioned, is the case on many, many other universities around the country. So that's what you're saying here?
Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're trying to pass that off on the other two individuals when they are the problem. And I really, really want to emphasize.
You mean the security guard? You mean the security? They're trying to pass it off on the security guards.
Well, and the administrator, because she was saying the same thing.
Okay.
So I don't want to see them scapegoated, and I definitely don't want to see necessarily outcry against them because they're just doing their jobs. And I hate that argument, but the school is in the wrong, and now they're trying to pass the buck.
Now what? Okay, so where does this stand right now?
And now they're trying to pass the buck.
Now what? Okay, so where does this stand right now? What these out and where does this incident stand?
Well, right now, I had stopped. I haven't done any sort of activities on campus since then. I've kind of just gone back to being a student because I gotta do well in school yet. But right now, we're just keeping all our options open. I want these speech codes gone. I still want people to be aware that these speech codes are on 1 in 6 campuses, these unconstitutional free speech zones. It needs to stop everywhere, and students everywhere need to rise up against these policies. It needs to stop everywhere, and students everywhere need to rise up against these policies. See what the administration does, and we'll deal with it as it comes up. See what the administration does, and we'll deal with it as it comes up.
Might want to take your case or pursue any legal action?
I have been contacted, but I'm not committing to anything at this time.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Hey, listen, it's good to hear you want to go into journalism. I don't know that journalism really exists anymore. And if you've ever watched or listened to this show, you know what I'm talking about. But we need people like her. And if you've ever watched or listened to this show, you know what I'm talking about. But we need people like her, but especially freedom of speech is very impressive and important. So we'll stay in touch with you, and anything else you do, let us know, okay?
Will do.
All right, Robert. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. That's Robert Van Tuinen.